Deep in China's Qinghai province lies Mount Baigong, a desolate mountain hiding one of the strangest mysteries on Earth, the Baigong Pipes. These rust-colored tubes, embedded in rock formations over 150,000 years old, stretch through the mountain and into a nearby saltwater lake. Their origins are a mystery. How could such advanced structures exist long before human technology evolved? Tests revealed the pipes are made of iron, with traces of silicon dioxide and calcium oxide, materials found in nature but rarely combined in this way. Even stranger, parts of the pipes show signs of being exposed to extremely high heat. Their precise layout, some running vertically into the mountain and others leading to the lake, raises questions. Were they part of an ancient irrigation system, or could they be remnants of alien technology? Local legends add an eerie layer to the mystery. Tribes spoke of strange lights and sounds around the mountain as if something otherworldly once lingered here, while scientists suggest theories like fossilized roots or volcanic activity. None fully explain the pipe's advanced design. Standing near the pipes, with icy winds cutting through the barren landscape, the air feels heavy with secrets. Whether a natural anomaly or a relic of something extraordinary, the Baigong Pipes remain one of the most unexplainable discoveries ever found in the mountains. It happened again. Deep in the mountains, hidden away from civilization, a team of workers unearthed something they were never meant to find. A colossal metallic pipe, partially buried as if the earth itself had been trying to keep it hidden. The Baigong Pipes were small, scattered relics of something ancient. But this is something else entirely. Bolted, reinforced, impossibly smooth. The scale is beyond human engineering. Scientists arrived, yet no one could explain what it was, how old it was, or who, or what, had built it. Some say it's the remains of an abandoned megastructure. Others whisper of something far more terrifying. An entrance, a gateway, a part of something still slumbering beneath the rock. If that's true, should we have left it buried? As if the mountains themselves weren't eerie enough, the Himalayas hold a secret that refuses to die: the legend of the Yeti. For centuries, local Sherpas have whispered about the massive, shadowy figure lurking in the snow. But legends are one thing, evidence is another. And in 2019, something strange was found. A team of Indian Army mountaineers stumbled upon a set of colossal footprints, measuring nearly 32 inches long, deep in the snow near Makalu Base Camp. Too large for any human, too distinct for a bear, the tracks stretched in a pattern eerily similar to a bipedal walk. The discovery reignited old questions. If the Yeti is just a myth, then what made these tracks? Scientists scrambled for answers, dismissing them as bear prints distorted by melting snow. But that didn't explain everything. Why were the impressions evenly spaced, suggesting a two-legged stride? And why have similar prints been reported for decades, from Everest to Bhutan? The deeper you dig, the more unsettling it gets. If these aren't the tracks of a Yeti, then what else is out there, walking in the untouched white, just beyond our sight? Speaking of things out of place, across the Tibetan Plateau in China's Baigong Mountains, a discovery was made that defies logic. Buried deep in a cave, over 700 stone discs were uncovered, each about a foot wide, with precise grooves spiraling inward, as if they were some kind of ancient record. At first, archaeologists assumed they were just ritualistic artifacts, but when examined closely, the material wasn't quite natural. The discs contained high levels of cobalt and other metals rarely found in such formations. Even more bizarre? Some researchers claimed the grooves held microscopic hieroglyph-like inscriptions, symbols so small they required magnification to be seen. Who could have carved them, and why? Then there's the legend that refuses to die. Local myths speak of the Drapa, a race of small, fragile beings that supposedly fell from the sky. Some say the discs tell their story, of a crash, of survival, of something unearthly. Officially, the artifacts remain unexplained, but the questions linger. Were these just primitive carvings, or could they be something far more advanced? The mysteries continue westward, across the ocean, deep into the wild heart of Maine. Mount Katahdin is more than just the state's tallest peak. It's a place of ancient legends and bizarre landscapes. But nothing is as unsettling as the boulder field. Here, scattered across the mountain lie massive rocks, some the size of cars, others like small houses, strewn across the land as if something once hurled them with immense force. Geologists say it was glaciers. But the placement is strange, almost deliberate. Native American folklore tells another story, one of spirits and giants who shaped the land long before humans arrived. Hikers report eerie silence in the boulder field, as if the wind refuses to move through it. Some claim strange vibrations hum through the stones, felt but never heard. Theories range from natural magnetic fields to something unknown beneath the surface. Whatever the explanation, one thing is certain: standing among these scattered giants surrounded by stillness, you can't shake the feeling that you are not alone. The Appalachian Mountains are old, older than the Atlantic Ocean itself. And with that age comes stories. Deep in the forests, past the last streetlights and human settlements, strange lights appear. Orbs, glowing softly, drifting through the trees like wandering spirits. For centuries, locals have whispered about these floating lights, most famously seen in places like Brown Mountain in North Carolina. They flicker, move unpredictably, and sometimes vanish as suddenly as they appear. Scientists have tried to explain them away: swamp gas, reflections, even electrical discharges. But none of these theories fully fit. The lights don't just appear in one place. They've been spotted from Georgia to Pennsylvania, always in remote, wild landscapes. Then there are the reports that don't make sense. Hunters claim the lights follow them. Hikers say they see them one night, then hear footsteps the next. Some who have tried to chase the orbs found themselves lost, wandering in circles, as if something was leading them deeper into the forest. The lights remain, unexplained and watching, waiting for the next person to follow them into the unknown. And then there's the feeling, out in those dense woods, miles from anyone, that you are not alone. The Appalachian Mountains have long been home to stories of strange, unidentifiable creatures. Some describe shadowy figures that move too fast to be human. Others tell of large, hunched beings with glowing eyes, glimpsed between the trees just long enough to send a chill down your spine. One of the most infamous accounts comes from West Virginia, the Mothman, a winged creature with burning red eyes, said to appear before disasters. Then there are the stories of the Wampus cat, a feline-like creature that supposedly stalks hikers at night, and the unnerving tales of people hearing strange, distorted voices calling their names deep in the forest when no one is there. Skeptics argue it's all folklore, but missing person cases in the region suggest otherwise. Hikers vanish without a trace, their campsites undisturbed, their gear left behind. No signs of struggle, no logical explanation. Whether it's the mountains themselves, or something lurking within them, one thing is certain: the deeper you go, the less the world feels like the one you know. If there's one thing more unsettling than something hiding in the trees, it's something disappearing into the ice. Mount Erebus, an active volcano in Antarctica, holds one of aviation's most chilling mysteries. On November 28, 1979, Air New Zealand Flight 901 vanished into its slopes. It was meant to be a scenic flight, no landing, just a loop over the frozen continent before returning to Auckland. But something went wrong. The plane, carrying 257 people, never made it back. Investigators found the wreckage, but what they didn't find were clear answers. The official report blamed pilot error, but strange details linger. The plane was flying on a route it shouldn't have been. It descended far too low, as if drawn into the mountain itself. Then there's the eerie phenomenon pilots call the whiteout. The mountain's icy terrain sometimes reflects light so perfectly that the ground and sky become indistinguishable. But some believe something else was at play. A force, a presence, something that has drawn more than one aircraft into its grasp. Even today, Erebus remains one of the most inhospitable, unexplored places on Earth, where the ice holds its secrets and never gives them back. Not all mountains hide their secrets in rock, some are entombed in ice. In 1991, two hikers in the Ötztal Alps on the Austrian-Italian border stumbled upon a body emerging from a melting glacier. At first they thought it was a modern climber, frozen in time, but tests revealed something far stranger. The man, nicknamed Ötzi, was over 5,000 years old, one of the best preserved mummies ever found. His clothes, weapons, and even his last meal remained intact. But what really disturbed researchers wasn't how he died, it was what happened to those who found him. In the years following his discovery, at least 7 people connected to Ötzi's excavation died under eerie circumstances. A forensic expert perished in a car crash. A mountaineer who helped move the body died in an avalanche. The head of the rescue team collapsed from a sudden stroke. The deaths fueled whispers of an ancient curse, a warning from the past. Science dismisses the idea, blaming coincidence. But Ötzi's body holds mysteries beyond superstition, traces of copper and arsenic in his hair, suggesting he worked with metals before metallurgy was common. Tattoos of unknown purpose mark his skin. And then there's the arrow wound in his back, the fatal shot that suggests he was murdered. What happened to Otzi in his final hours? And did uncovering his frozen tomb awaken something that should have remained buried? Mummies tell stories in flesh, but in the Andes, the past is written on the walls. Hidden in caves high in the mountains, ancient paintings stretch across rock surfaces, depicting something that shouldn't be there. Among the usual animals and human figures, strange beings appear, tall, elongated heads, oversized eyes, figures wrapped in halos of light. Some look eerily similar to modern depictions of extraterrestrials. The most famous of these artworks, found in remote Andean caves, date back thousands of years. Archaeologists believe they were painted by early civilizations, perhaps as part of rituals. But the strangest part? Some of the symbols resemble constellations. Others depict what looks like flying objects hovering above the human figures below. Skeptics argue these are just abstract art, a coincidence. But ancient Andean cultures like the Nazca and Chavin were deeply connected to the stars, tracking celestial movements with astonishing precision. Could these paintings be a record of something they saw in the sky? Something that came down to meet them? The answers, if they exist, are buried in time, or maybe in the caves that still remain unexplored. The caves of the Andes hold strange images, but in Turkey beneath Mount Nemrut, something even more incredible was uncovered. Not paintings, but an entire hidden city. While the mountaintop is known for its massive stone heads, carved in honor of an ancient king, few know what lies beneath. In the 1960s, researchers began investigating tunnels near Nemrut, and made an astonishing discovery: an underground network, stretching deep into the rock. Some passages were wide enough for groups to walk side by side, others barely large enough to crawl through. The deeper they went, the stranger it became. Storage rooms, ventilation shafts, even what appeared to be meeting halls, all carved into the stone with unimaginable precision. Who built it, and why? Some believe it was a hidden refuge, an ancient fortress designed to protect people from invaders. Others suggest something more unsettling: that whatever lived there wasn't just hiding from enemies, but from something far worse. The air is thick with history, but the silence is heavy, as if the mountain itself remembers something we were never meant to know. Some mysteries are carved into stone, others are buried beneath it. But in the Paracas Mountains of Peru, the mystery is bone deep. In the 1920s, archaeologist Julio Tello made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific world. Hundreds of skulls, elongated, deformed, unlike anything seen before. These weren't crude modifications, they were shaped with an unnatural symmetry, some with cranial volumes far larger than any known human skull. For years, researchers debated their origins. Many ancient cultures practiced skull elongation, binding infant heads to create a distinct shape. But the Paracas skulls, some showed no signs of artificial modification. Their structure suggested something different. Something genetic. DNA tests only deepened the mystery, revealing mutations never seen in human populations. Who were they? A forgotten lineage? A hybrid species? Theories range from undiscovered human relatives to something far more unsettling. What's even stranger is the secrecy. Some skulls disappeared into private collections, and further studies have been slow, even resisted. Why? The Paracas skulls are an anomaly, an uncomfortable crack in what we thought we knew about human history. And in that crack, questions remain. Were they truly human, or were they something else entirely? From strange skulls to golden faces, the next discovery is no less eerie. Deep in the Carpathian Mountains, archaeologists unearthed something dazzling yet disturbing. Ornate gold masks placed over the faces of the dead, buried in forgotten tombs. They date back thousands of years, crafted with precision that shouldn't have been possible for their time. The most famous of these, found in Romania and Bulgaria, belong to the ancient Thracians, a civilization shrouded in mystery. But unlike other burial masks, these weren't just decorative. Some had hollow eyes as if meant to be worn beyond death. Others were shaped to exaggerate human features, elongated, unnatural, almost inhuman. Why were they made? Some suggest they were symbols of power, meant to give the dead a godlike presence. Others whisper of something stranger, that these masks weren't just to honor the dead but to change them, to transform them into something else. Whatever the truth, the masks remain as silent witnesses to a civilization that vanished, leaving only golden faces staring into the void. And then there's Rupkund, a place where faces don't just stare from the grave, they litter the ground itself. High in the Indian Himalayas, at over 16,000 feet, lies Rupkund Lake, a remote frozen basin. For most of the year, it's an unremarkable pool of ice. But when the snow melts, something horrifying appears, hundreds of human skeletons packed around the lake, some still with flesh clinging to their bones. The discovery sent scientists scrambling for answers. Who were they? What happened here? Carbon dating placed them between 800 and 1,500 years old, but they weren't from one group. Genetic studies revealed they came from different regions, suggesting multiple events as if the lake had been swallowing travelers for centuries. Theories range from a deadly hailstorm to ritual sacrifice, but none fully explain the scale of the remains or their scattered positions. Some bodies were found in unnatural postures as if something had struck them down in an instant. Even now the lake remains a chilling enigma, a frozen graveyard where the wind howls through empty eye sockets, whispering secrets that no one has lived to tell. High in the Bolivian Andes, standing alone among the ruins of Tiwanaku, is a massive stone doorway, the Gate of the Sun. Carved from a single block of andesite, it weighs over 10 tons, yet no one knows exactly how it was built or what purpose it served. Even stranger is what's carved into it. A complex pattern of figures, symbols, and a central figure with a radiant halo, known as the Weeping God. Some believe it represents Viracocha, a god said to have walked among humans before vanishing into the ocean. But the mystery deepens. Some researchers claim the engravings form an ancient calendar, one that tracks celestial cycles with shocking accuracy. Others suggest it depicts events long before the rise of the Tiwanaku civilization, possibly pointing to a lost, unknown culture. Even more puzzling, the gate appears to have once stood upright in a different location, meaning it may have been part of something much larger. The question lingers, was this a portal, a calendar, or something more? Some claim it marks the entrance to a forgotten world, a gateway not just to another place but to another time. And if that's true, then what exactly was on the other side? If the Gate of the Sun holds lost knowledge, then deep in the Siberian wilderness, Mount Sharia may hold something even older. Among the frozen cliffs, researchers discovered something that defies explanation. Colossal stone slabs, some weighing over 3,000 tons, stacked with unnatural precision. The formations look like the ruins of a forgotten structure, one that would have required advanced engineering. But what truly unsettled researchers were the markings. Some of these stones bore strange, almost mathematical patterns, as if they once formed a giant astronomical calendar. Unlike known ancient observatories, these markings didn't match traditional lunar or solar cycles. Instead, they seemed to track something else, something unknown. Geologists argue the stones are natural formations, shaped by time and weather, yet their alignment, their scale, and their almost intentional placement raise unsettling questions. If they were built, then by whom? And if they were meant to measure time, then what kind of time were they tracking? A forgotten civilization, lost to history? Or something even older, something waiting to be understood? Mountains hold the past, but some burn with an eternal fire. Deep in Australia's Hunter Valley, Mount Wingen, better known as the Burning Mountain, has been smoldering for over 6,000 years. Beneath its surface, an underground coal seam is on fire, creeping slowly beneath the earth at a few feet per year, never stopping, never cooling. The local Wanarua people spoke of a great fire spirit trapped within the mountain, a warning never to disturb it. When European settlers first saw the smoke rising from the ground, they thought it was a volcano. But this was no ordinary blaze. It was something ancient, a fire that should have burned out long ago. Even today, the ground above the fire is cracked and scorched, steaming in the cold air. No one knows exactly how it started, but some believe it may have ignited from a lightning strike thousands of years ago. What's more disturbing is that no one knows when, or if, it will ever stop. And deep underground, where the fire still moves, who knows what might be uncovered when the mountain finally burns itself open. Buried in the cliffs near the Dead Sea, the Qumran Caves have given the world some of its most important ancient texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls. But among them one stands apart. Unlike the others written on parchment or papyrus, this one was etched into metal, thin sheets of pure copper. The copper scroll is different in another way too. It doesn't contain religious writings, laws, or prophecies. Instead, it's a list of hidden treasures. The scroll describes vast amounts of gold, silver, and sacred objects supposedly buried across multiple secret locations. But these aren't ordinary caches. If the scroll is to be believed, the total value of the treasure would be worth billions today. Who hid it? Some believe it belonged to the Second Temple in Jerusalem, hidden away before the Romans destroyed it. Others think it could be the lost wealth of the Essenes, the mysterious sect that lived in Qumran. Yet despite decades of searching, not a single piece of treasure from the scroll has ever been found. Some believe the riches were already taken, long before the scroll was rediscovered. Others claim the instructions are coded, hiding their true meaning. Or maybe, just maybe, the treasure was never meant to be found at all, a false map leading to nowhere, or a real fortune buried beneath centuries of history. Either way, the Copper Scroll remains one of the most baffling mysteries of the ancient world. Some mysteries are hidden beneath ice, others beneath stone, but in Arizona's Superstition Mountains, the secret is buried in legend. For over a century, treasure hunters, historians, and skeptics alike have been drawn to this rugged, unforgiving landscape in search of one thing: the lost Dutchman's mine. Said to hold a fortune in gold, the mine has never been found, yet the stories surrounding it refuse to fade. It all starts with Jacob Waltz, a German immigrant, often called the Dutchman, who allegedly discovered a secret gold mine in the 19th century. According to legend, Waltz took the location of the mine to his grave, revealing cryptic clues only to a few people before he passed. Some say he described landmarks, a split rock, a shadow that only appears at certain times of the year. Others claim the mine was originally discovered by the Peralta family, a Mexican mining dynasty wiped out in a massacre by local tribes protecting their land. But the deeper you dig into the story, the stranger it becomes. Over the years, numerous people have set out to find the treasure, only to disappear under mysterious circumstances. Some have been found dead in the desert, their bodies untouched except for a look of fear frozen on their faces. Others have simply vanished, as if the mountains themselves swallowed them whole. Even the Apache people who have lived in this land for generations warn against searching for the mine. They believe the Superstition Mountains are cursed, home to spirits and forces that should not be disturbed. Some legends even speak of an entrance to the underworld hidden within the peaks, a place where those who enter never return. Despite the warnings, the search continues. Every year, new explorers arrive, armed with old maps, satellite images, and theories that they believe will finally crack the mystery. Some claim the mine is hidden behind a rock slide, others believe it's disguised by the natural formations of the canyons. But so far the treasure, if it ever existed, remains lost. That's about it. Write in the comments which discovery impressed you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.